Oh, hello, and welcome. Today we are taking a look at something I have been waiting on for a minute. We're taking a look back at 2017 film, The VelociPastor. I have been waiting to watch this film for so long, and finally got around to it. I seen the summary of the movie and some pictures online. While I thought this was going to be an incredibly hilarious time, nothing could have prepared me for the hour-long experience I went on. I knew the movie only had a budget of $36,000, and while I couldn't help but laugh at the comments saying the majority of the budget went to the poster, actually watching the movie, it was unbelievable the amount of stuff they were able to fit in with the runtime and the budget. I wasn't sure what type of movie to expect going in, but it is 100% satire and dumb and goofy, and I love it. The plot kicks off introducing us to Doug Jones, a devoted priest who is taught by his mentor, Father Stewart. Doug's whole life is derailed after his parents are tragically killed right in front of him. I almost turned off the movie with how violent and horrifying this explosion was. I was not expecting such gratuitous gore right off the bat. After these horrific events, Doug starts rethinking his faith. So Father Stewart tells him to travel to a place where God will not follow. Of course, he goes to the first place that comes to anyone's mind, China. During his travels, he ends up in some random forest, and out of nowhere comes a lady who's being shot down by ninjas. In this woman's dying breaths, she gives Doug a dinosaur tooth and tells him to destroy it. However, Doug doesn't understand a word of what she's saying, and he takes the tooth, accidentally cutting himself open. In doing so, he changed his life forever. Now back home from his trip, he starts to get cravings, a hunger unlike anything he's ever felt. It's at this point we get introduced to our other main protagonist, Carol, a prostitute just trying to make ends meet so that she can go to school and achieve her goal of being a hooker doctor lawyer. That's right, a hooker doctor lawyer.
There's surprisingly little demand for hooker doctor lawyers.
Unfortunately for her, she's being pimped by the Godfather himself, Frankie Mermaid. Now you may be wondering, why the name Frankie Mermaid?
'Cause you're swimming in bitches.
You're goddamn right.
And to let you know, Frankie Mermaid does not mess around.
Yo, Jerry! If you stuffed dicks in your mouth like you're doing that sandwich, I'd be a fucking millionaire by now!
He sends Carol to go work the park at night, but she ends up getting mugged. This is where it happens. This is where we first get introduced to the VelociPastor. Doug, coincidentally at the park, starts transforming. He turns into a monster of great power, and he saves Carol from the robber. This scene was incredible for all of 5 seconds before they showed a close-up of the goddamn dinosaur, and oh my goodness, it took me out. Literally, no effort was given to the dinosaur, especially later on. It makes for some of the funniest shit. Look at these Party City gloves they got, like you can't be for real. And don't even get me started on the limbs and the mannequin heads they used for the deaths. It's actually unbelievable. Carol and Doug talk the next day, going over what happened and getting to know each other. But the dialogue in this movie is so unbelievable, and the way they shoot these scenes with the random cuts, I realized this movie is basically a sitcom. Like, take a look at this scene.
Touch not thy sinning hands,
Stop
Jezebel!
it, you... Doug!
I have to do confessions.
Right now?
Yes, right now!
So Doug is at a dilemma on what to do. Carol is telling him to use his powers for good and take out bad people, but Father Stewart and his beliefs are telling him it's immorally wrong. It's only when he's faced with the worst kind of evil that he makes his decision. Of course, I'm talking about the man himself, Frankie Mermaid. He shows up at the church to confess all he's done.
Stole candy from this baby, then I threw the baby in the river. I pimp bitches, I do drugs, sell drugs, murder people. You name it, I done it, Padre.
And only here do we learn it was Frankie Mermaid who murdered Doug's parents.
Oh shit, actually a couple months ago, this fucking old couple, I blew up their car.
You murdered my parents!
A plot twist of preposterous magnitude, and in a fit of rage, Doug kills the Godfather, Frankie Mermaid. While all of this is going on, we're shown the ninjas are coming up with a plan, and we also get introduced to their leader. And by the way, this is all within like the first 15 minutes of the movie. So after all of this, Doug decides to work with Carol and be a hero. We get one of the best montages I have ever seen, filled with Doug taking out people as a velociraptor and eating ice cream with Carol. Unfortunately, Father Stewart catches Doug rizzing up and has to have a godly talk with the boy. He learns everything that's been going on and decides that boy is possessed. From here on, we have a flashback to Doug's family involving a literal one-for-one copy of the Uncle Ben scene. We meet this random priest who's been living in some secret part of the church, and he's gonna do an exorcism on Doug. But most importantly, we get a goddamn Vietnam flashback to
the war.
At this point, we're only halfway through this movie, and the amount of plot points we've jumped to and from is insane. But this war flashback just did it for me. So we see Father Stewart before he was a priest. He's in the war, talking about his wife and yearning for a family. The dialogue between him and his comrade is ridiculous enough.
11 kids. And I want you to spend 15 minutes a day with each of them.
But what really did it for me is when his wife randomly shows up on the battlefield, and then this happens.
Adeline!
That moment right there made me realize this movie is everything I've ever wanted in life. We go back to the exorcism, and Doug can't contain the beast anymore. He gets these dinosaur gloves on and takes out Father Stewart. Doug eventually meets up with Carol, and we get one of the most crazy edited sex scenes I've ever seen. The epic rock music over the editing is actually a strong suit in the movie, if you want to call it that. We get yet another plot twist, learning Father Stewart is still alive after being attacked by the raptor. We learn through this conversation the ninja's master plan, and oh my god, it is incredible. When I was watching this movie, I said to myself, man, cocaine must be a great drug, because there is no way the people who made this movie weren't on something. Little did I know that thought would come back tenfold. So it turns out these dudes are actually an army of Christian ninjas, and they are planning to use literal cocaine to get the entire city high on drugs, so then everyone will go to Christian help centers, and in turn, they will create an army of coked out Christians to achieve their goal of ultimate global domination. After that, Father Stewart is murdered for real this time, and the battle commences. But before we get to the battle, hold up, we got one final plot twist. The second in command of the ninja army is actually Doug's brother.
Still don't recognize me, do you? Doug. Remember me now? Brother!
Apparently, through all the flashbacks we've seen of Doug's childhood, his brother has just been lurking outside of the view of the camera the whole time, getting left out. So he is now here for his revenge. The fight starts, and Carol and Doug are kicking ass. Doug kills his own brother, and in the midst of chaos, Carol is also struck down. Everyone is crying, even the ninjas, and Carol gives her last words, and now Doug knows what he must do. He finally unleashes the goddamn raptor.
But praying right now will never save.
You're alive!
This is what I was waiting for all movie. We witnessed the greatest action sequence of all time as the VelociPastor takes his revenge. He finishes the leader with another mannequin head moment and saves the day. For the cherry on top, we get a goddamn Gandhi quote at the end, because why not? We also find out Carol is fine, and everyone lives happily ever after. This movie is straight goofy through and through. I would legitimately say it's one of my favorite comedy movies I've ever seen. The satire tone of everything was fantastic, and you can tell they had a very fun time making it. I tried to fit a lot of the wackiness from the film into this video, but for an hour-long movie, it's insane. There's still so much I didn't show. So please, if you haven't watched this, you will not regret it. They left it open-ended too, so you know what that means.
The VelociPastor 2.
I checked online and I was so excited to see they made a Kickstarter for a sequel. But not only that, the people smashed the base goal because they have already raised nearly double the amount they wanted and are gonna have a budget over 3 times the size of the original now. It says the sequel is set in the 80s and will involve the heroes going to Italy in a film styled after Midsommar and Rocky IV. That sounds absolutely insane and I cannot wait. I really hope you enjoyed this look at the VelociPastor. Until next time, peace.